Dumelang bakhaitso, I'm Tebogo Tinti and welcome to Time with T. Thank you so much for choosing to spend time with me. Now, there are 5 things that I will always talk about: literature, performing arts, agenda, gender-based violence, and myself. And today I think I'm going to talk about a little bit about myself and literature and conversations with the author, a literary program that I have the absolute honor and privilege of being the host of, brought to you by the South African State Theatre, the largest theatre in all of Africa. So when I first had the conversation with the creator of this program, which is the artistic director of the South African State Theatre, Mr. Aubrey Scabi, we spoke about what the program is about. And I remember just asking him casually what the intention is behind this program. And because I had asked that question so casually, he gave me a very casual answer that stayed with me till now, and I think it's gonna stay with me for the rest of my days. He said that every single art form has a platform within the institution that is the South African State Theatre, and it was only natural to create a platform for the foundation of all these art forms, which is text, because every art form begins with text. Life begins with text. Everything just begins with text, and with text we get books. And we get books from authors, people who then decide to put the stories down to paper. So it was a natural progression for him to create space for authors and book lovers and literary enthusiasts such as myself to have a place to say, oh, I am going to conversations with the author. It was book launches then, but it has since changed because we realized that the books that we have already been launched, and we didn't want the book launch format. If you've ever been to a book launch, you know how a book launch is, as opposed to conversations with the author. We wanted for it to be like that. We wanted for the author to speak about the work and really involve the audience and the people that love them and that love their work and that have questions about the stories that they tell. That is the essence of conversations with the author. And I'm not even going into depth with it because there's more. But because I want to talk about this now, let me just get no pule fela ke feet. So and a while back, thing about me is that when I say a while back, I could mean yesterday, I could mean last week, I could mean 5 years ago, hey, I could even mean a decade ago. So a while back, I watched an episode of the Oprah Winfrey Show, and she had on the show Iyanla Vanzant. When she first started her show Fix My Life. And before then, they had like a bit of a squabble in the media and in their lives together as a pair, but there was a lot of misunderstanding that I'm not going to get into now. But when Iyanla went on the Oprah show and they were talking about the intention of the work, I remember Iyanla saying that after she had left OWN, she went on to another network to produce her show, and when she was having conversations with people and producers and even the host, it's people who had no idea what her work is about. It was people, her show was being produced by people who have never even read any of her books. So that was the thing that really bothered her, that eventually made her reach out to Oprah and say, listen, girl, kunta off, because the people that ended up producing her show were the people who did not have the same intention for the work as she did. And that also stayed with me. That is why when I am going to have a conversation with the author, I get into it. I have to read the book. If an author has more than one book, I have to read, if not all of the books, then some of the books, most of the work. I want to familiarize myself with the author and with the work to formulate a wholesome conversation. That is my intention with the work. I could never have a conversation with an author ke sa bala buka. For me, I feel like the author and myself would not be on the same page. Therefore, the audience would not benefit. Because then we would just have two completely different, I don't know how to explain it, but I know same as the work that I do with Onset, a program also produced by the South African State Theatre, where I get to have conversations with artists and writers and creators of the productions. For me, I absolutely have to watch the work before I sit down with the creators of the work. That is how I get to be on the same page with the people when talking to, so that the audience can benefit more and the audience can also relate, and so that we can have an understanding of the things that we might not understand. That is the point of the work. That is the intention of the work. And sometimes, depending on the kind of book that I'll be doing at the time, sometimes I want to get to know the author in terms of, I'm gonna follow them on social media, I'm gonna get their number, we're gonna text on WhatsApp. If we get to call each other, we get to call each other. Depending on that type of work, I will do those kinds of things so that I can again formulate a wholesome conversation. That is the intention. And going back to the episode that I saw, Oprah and Iyanla, Oprah then said that she learned from Maya Angelou that an artist creates from different places. An artist that creates from an honest place, their work will resonate and it will show in their character. And that is where the famous phrase came from: when people show you who they are, believe them. When an artist shows you who they are through their work, believe it. And when artists shows you who they are in person, believe that. Don't take your notion or your expectation of them or how or your the way that you perceive them. Don't take that to be your final say, because it's not the final say. It's not the final opinion of who they are. You were just formulating that on your experience, but that is what you must also take into consideration. And another thing that Oprah said that stays with me is that when you do something, it is not the work that you do that's gonna go out into the universe. It is the intention behind the work that you do that's gonna go out to the universe. For example, it takes me back to the conversation that I had with Mr. Obris Khan. What is the intention? The intention is to close this gap between an author and the book and the work, is to formulate this thing. The same way a music fanatic will go to a music concert to enjoy. You already downloaded the music, you already know all the songs, but you still have it. You have a different interpretation of the song once you see the performer performs live on stage. The same way that I feel about Bongeziwe Mabandla. Like into engizoba yiyo the day Bongeziwe atlamusastiki mona alita di bina tsa gagwe that have pulled me through the most joyous times of my life, the most hardest moments of my life. Like, you understand, it's a different thing. Same as a book. And I always advocate for reading the same book at different stages in your life, because then you understand it differently. When you add experience, when you add more wisdom, it translates differently. So I'm going back, like I digress, but it's neither here nor there. So so that's where the intention is. And oftentimes when I have conversations with authors, even off camera, before or leading to the conversation, I will ask, well, not directly, but I will ask. I have a way of asking, of getting the answer, what your intention is behind the work. And I do get to understand, I get to feel them out. And there are authors that I don't talk to, leading to conversations. I just formulate their intentions for the work by watching them on social media and how they engage and how they respond to our emails and things like that. You can really you get to know a lot about a person by the way that they respond to certain things. And recently there's an author that we're going to do that's coming up, Lucas Manghope by Opa Sekhalwe. I always buy that, Opa Sekhalwe. I shouldn't do that because the way I get mad when people mess up my last name. And I said to him, because I had started reading the book just a little bit, and I quickly said to him that I don't want to talk to you up until the day of. And he understood it. I don't know if he understood it, but he respects it. He respects it. Like, we don't talk. Like, he does not bother me. I don't bother him. We only speak when we need to, like when we give each other, the information that we need at that particular time. And that also says a lot about him as an author. And I appreciate that so much. When people respect you in your capacity. Another author that gave me that, I'm not going to mention everyone, and it doesn't take anything away from any other author that we've had. Another author that did that was Tshegofatso Tiane Sepula. Woo! I always get emotional when I speak about him because, Tshegofatso, the author of Mental Decay, my pick for Book Nook this month. Again, without taking away from anyone. One thing about me, I cry, hey? I cry. Okay, good, I'm saying this because Tshegofatso showed me the utmost respect. The utmost respect. And takes me back to the very first time I texted him. I remember we were on the road. We were going to shoot somewhere with the team. And I had just gotten his contact. And I wanted to call him, but then I realized there's a lot of noise. So the conversation is not going to go the way that I would want. It's just annoying. I know I would find it annoying. So I became a text explaining, you know what, I would like to call you, but I can't right now because I'm on the road. So this is why I'm texting instead. Something like that. And then his response was perfect. I prefer text anyway. And I was like, we're going to get along great. And we did. On the day of the conversation, getting ready technically, sound check, camera setup, all of that, he had this calm aura. He was so calm. And I don't want to sound like those chakra hands. I read energies, but you can feel when somebody is giving you, you can feel when someone is showing you who they are. And he showed me who he is in the most beautiful way. So when the conversation started, it was a beautiful tennis match. I don't know how else to explain it. It was a give and take. Like, he allowed me to speak. He allowed me to ask him questions. I allowed him to respond. I allowed him to say what he needed to say. It was such a yes, if I could do that one again, I would. And I would not change a thing. enough about Tshegofatso because otherwise he's yeah. And then there was another author. I remember we also had we had a chance to meet before we got a chance to shoot something together elsewhere. I'm not gonna mention who. Luckily we've done a number of those. So this author was late. We were waiting for them, and yeah, they were late, and they were just you know that whole I'm late, I'm sorry, on the day of, and it leading to the conversation on the days, because we were talking, well actually they were insisting to talk to me quite a lot, and I would respond, because if an author has questions and they want the inquiries, I will answer, I will respond, I will engage. And the day, like on the day of the conversation, let me not mention all the other things. On the day of conversations, they were late again. Tardiness for me is anyway, story for another day. They were late again, and I remember just before my incredible stage manager Sihle, just before he was like in 5-4, the author said to me, yeah, we will do it again. And I said to them, this is the last time. This is the last time I do this with you, because it's one thing to disrespect me and be late. It's another to disrespect the team and not respect the team's time. And it's another. And I always say this. If you want to come at me in whatever way. If you want to disrespect me, disrespect me. If you want to be late to our appointment, go ahead and be late to our appointment. But if it's going to include our team, the best team in theater production today, no, then you are not one of us. You can't be one of us. If you're going to be disrespectful like that, then you can't be one of us. Khotwanale, another author that called us you people. It will never end well when a person from a different race calls another person from a different race you people in a derogatory manner. It will never end nicely, and it didn't end nicely. And I was like, what? Maybe say to me you person. Don't say to the team you people. And I said this before, the team are like my siblings. I can speak to my siblings any old way. You know how siblings are. We can tease each other, we can annoy one another, we can make each other mad, but we love each other dearly. So I can speak to my team any old way, because they know how I feel about them and I know how they feel about me. But another person cannot talk to my siblings like I have two sisters. One older sister, one younger sister. I know I'm carrying on today, but hey, just let me have this. I have two sisters, one older sister, one younger sister. My older sister and I have our moments where we are just snacks. But when I, as another person, let me not catch you saying snacks things about my sister. Let me not catch you. Let me not. Like, I better not catch you. And I know that she feels the same way about me. Because like, she is here. The same way I am there without a shadow of a doubt. but I'll be the first one to tell her where to get off, and she'll be the first one to tell me where to get off. But another person, don't do that. Same with the team. We have the same relationship with the team. We can play off each other and play back and forth with each other, but another person coming into the mix, like no. So yeah, that's another. So back to, let me circle back. I keep digressing, but understand that I'm go through something, so you need to release and debrief. My boss said I must debrief and release, so that's what I'm doing. So, and another thing, as much as I do everything I can for the success of Conversations with the Author, the rest of the team is like that. They do everything they can for the success of Conversations with the Author. I don't doubt that. And whenever people tell me, oh, you did great, today's conversation was so good, oh, you were wonderful, you were gracious, you were this, it's because I have the confidence of knowing that I don't sit up there alone. I have people who have my back. I have people who want to ensure that I look and sound my best. So when something goes wrong, I know that it could never have been on purpose. I know that I know this. I don't doubt it. I never will, and no one can tell me otherwise. So recently we had, before I speak about the one we had recently, I want to talk about the nature of Conversations with the Author. I was still talking about that, ne? Yeah, okay. So Conversations with the Author, as much as the goal is to bring authors and book lovers and readers together in one roof, it's also for readers to purchase books. Sometimes some readers and book lovers discover some authors mokurona, and that is the whole point. That is the goal. Like, oh, you only hearing about Nikim Shango here? Amazing, he's got other works, get into it, you know. Oh, you're only hearing about Busiseki Lekumalo from us? Incredible, she's got other work, please get into it. And like one so, and Conversations with the Author is a free event. It's a free event. Whether an audience member and our loyal supporters have those books or not, you are more than welcome to come to Conversations with the Author. Whether you are familiar with the author or not, you are more than welcome to come to Conversations with the Author. Whether you intend to buy the book or not, you are more than welcome to come to Conversations with the Author, because one of the best feelings I've ever gotten throughout the series is when somebody said, I didn't even know this author, but I went and got this book because of that conversation. I wanted to know where the story ends. I wanted to know what this character ends up doing because of the way that you were conducting the conversation. Or I started to follow this particular author because of the way they speak about their work, because of their demeanor, because of who they are. And that is the intention behind the work. That is the intention. So I appreciate authors who come in and allow us to do what we do, because we want to paint them in the best light. We want authors to come to our platform and enjoy themselves and enjoy the conversation and promote their work and gain more followers and supporters. We want that. We want to promote the culture of reading. We want to promote the culture of buying books. We want to promote the culture of bridging the gap between the author and the reader. So when an author comes into Conversations with the Author and wants to take over, even after we have given the brief, it pulls us back. It puts us in a bit of an uncomfortable position, because then we don't know what to do with you, because we don't know what this is. We are not familiar with that. We can't produce your show as an author. We can only produce conversations with the author. So when an author wants to come in and do things that we don't do, it throws us off. But when an author comes in and says, what do I need to do? And we say, this is how we work. And then they say, okay, I'm not comfortable with this, I'm comfortable with this. And then we tweak it to how that is. For everybody to be comfortable so that everybody can operate at their best. But when an author comes in and does not respect what conversations with the author is and all the people involved do, then we sort of sit back and say, okay, let's watch you do what you do. We can do this much for you. You take over the rest. Because at the end of the day, it is our intention behind the work that's going to go out into the universe, as well as you, the author's intention behind the work, to go out into the universe. And oftentimes what people say with their mouth is not what's in their hearts. And what's in their heart is what's going to go out into the universe. So when the results are not as expected, then people want to act surprised, and they're like, "Ooh, I don't know why this happened." You know why that happened. You know, because that was your intention. That's why that happened. And reading, I've always been reading since I was a baby. I've always loved. I remember in primary school, I had this book, The Animals. When you open it, there's like a nose of a frog pops out, and then when you close it, it folds. I'm still looking for that book. If I can, I don't remember the title, but I remember how it looks like. I remember the cover. Isn't that crazy? I don't remember the title, but I remember the cover. If I see it, I'm getting it. Like, I will sell my kidney, because I believe it's going to be that expensive. So I've always loved reading, and I've always loved books, and I've always loved authors, because they've allowed me to go places when I had nowhere to go. So when I meet an author that has completely different intentions to what the work is about, it's really shocking and disappointing. It's shocking and disappointing, because then you get to wonder. And that's where the phrase goes back to, ladies and gentlemen, don't meet your heroes. Like, kids, don't meet your heroes. And it happens. I remember for the longest time I was such a fan of that other guy who does kora music, you know, very cultural, very Tswana, very well known, very popular musician. I was a fan of his. I loved his work until I met him. And then I was like, yeah, nah, as a person, I'm good. I wish I didn't meet you there so I can continue listening to your music, you know. But then because I had met him, I realized what type of person they were, and then I stopped listening to the music, and I was like, you're not a nice person. You're not a nice person. And same applies with some actors. Oh, I love this series, or I love this film, or I love this play, and then you meet the stars and you're like, ooh, wish I'd never done that. That is why I prefer that when I meet artists, when I meet directors and writers and authors, and we speak about the work, we speak about the reasons why we love you. But then some insist on showing us who they are, and then we realize, oh, as As an author, you and I could be best friends. As a person, not so much. And that is how things are. And I know that I'm the same way towards some people. There are people who see my videos and they're like, oh, such a cool person. And then they meet me and they're like, really? I thought, you know, it's human nature. It's human nature. I had somebody watch my videos and then we met and then like, oh, I thought you were skinny. And I was like, oh, can't think Naruto naga size man. Naruto no size man. You know. Or you meet a person and you're like, I didn't realize you were this tall. Like, okay, sorry. If I'm disappointing, sorry. But anyway, yeah. Back to conversations with the author. That's the intention. The intention is to promote the work and to bridge the gap and to promote the culture of reading and to create space for this art form and to not charge people, especially who have already bought books, to not charge them or to say no book, no entry. That is not who we are. That is not who we are. Everybody's welcomed in conversations with the author, whether you have a book or not. You just have to RSVP. It's like what I always say, all you have to do is show up. All you have to do is show up. Well, I feel like I've said a lot without saying much, but the little bit that I shared, please take with you. And please keep it with you. And always remember why you do what you do. And always show up, man. Sometimes that's all you have to do. Just show up. Love and light.